Zachariah Blackburn. I'm the owner of Sunreed Instruments and the director at the Center of Light Institute of Sound Healing and Shamanic Studies. I'm here today to talk to you about the nature of crystal bowls, the differences in them, and important information that can help you make a good selection. First of all, we're available weekdays to consult with you about the nature of the bowls, about the different types, the different pitches and so forth, sets, etc., that you might wish to have for your own use or practice, or for those of others you want to gift to and so forth. And we can discuss all of these differences more thoroughly too, but this video is intended to give you a good thorough explanation of the nature of the crystal bowls, the differences between them, the pitch variations, and other factors that are important to consider when you're purchasing your crystal bowls. We have a wide variety of selections available at Sunreed Instruments, and we're more than happy to help you in any way to consult over these differences and the best selection for your needs and wishes. The way in which you approach a sound healing practice can be very beneficial with the use of the bowls, but it also may mean that you don't need the number of bowls you think you need. You may need a different selection, or a different selection might serve your purposes and wishes, your intentions, more than another set would, and we can help clarify any questions or confusion you have about that so you can make the best selection. I'm going to start talking about the frosted bowls, which are what you're seeing now, but I'm going to discuss the difference in that and clear bowls, mineral fusion bowls, painted bowls, handle bowls, other possible choices that you might be looking at. The frosted bowls were the first bowls to be created, and they were created actually by the computer industry. These are made out of 99.96% pure silicon quartz crystals. And they're made out of that pure of a silicon because they were used to grow silicon chips for the computer industry. That's how the construction of them began. It was a very expensive process, but the bowls also had to be very pure and exact in order for the silicon chips to grow in. And apparently they were throwing many away, and apparently someone heard the sound qualities of the bowls and said, "Wow, those are really nice. Maybe I would like to use those somehow." And you can hear just from my selection of tones right now that various tones go very well with each other. Some will sound differently as you play them in terms of the relationship or the harmonics that play with each other. The pitch and pitch variation, the frequency that you're using and so forth, all are important considerations. And I'm going to play some of the frosted bowls first, and then I'll play some of the differences in the other bowls. But I'm going to be talking about pitch, hertz values, scent values, and other terms that are used in the crystal bowl industry that might be helpful for you to understand. By playing the frosted bowls, you can strike them with any number of strikers, the standard suede striker or a rubber or silicon ball striker. The way in which they rub the bowl and sing the bowl can vary. The rubber or silicon ball strikers tend to be quieter with the frosted bowls. If you listen carefully, you might hear the swishing sound of the suede striker. It's a little shh, and this is disturbing to some people. They prefer to have the clear sound of the silicon or rubber balls. With the silicon or rubber balls, you do want to be careful when you're singing the bowl not to strike the side of the bowl with the wooden tip, because that can make distracting sounds also. So those are a couple of things to think about here. But the bowls are very easy to sing. You can ring them like a bell or a gong, and you can just sit quietly with them in this way, or you can sing them with the striker and make this sustained tone. The frosted bowls do have a nice sustained value where the sound continues after you stop playing, but the clear bowls have an even better, more clear and higher quality of sustained value that I'll show you in a little while. The frosted bowls are the most common. They were the first bowls produced. They're also the least expensive, in part because there's far more of them made, but also in part because the actual manufacture process is less time-consuming and machine-consuming than the other processes for the other types of bowls. If I were to select just one frosted bowl, the primary difference is in pitch, and in general, a larger bowl creates a deeper, richer resonance, a little bit louder, and a smaller bowl tends to create a higher pitch, often less in volume, may not be quite as rich and resonant. but it's more than perfect to play for many people, especially in your own room or sound chamber, meditation space. The smaller bowls have very high, sharp sounds. And for some people, these are more piercing than they like. A lot of people prefer the deeper, richer sounds of the more bass notes. And some people really like something more in the middle. What we recommend is that you listen to our sound files, which are with almost every single bowl, but also in a different link we have sound files you can listen to hear all the different notes and determine if one note sounds better to you. Does one touch you more than another? That actually is as important of a factor as to which bowl or bowls that you select as any others. Some people will tell you, oh, you need this bowl for that, or oh, you need this bowl for that purpose. And I would tend to suggest to you that when you learn to use the bowls with proper meditations or intentions, that one bowl is plenty to work with, and it doesn't have to be a select pitch. What's important is that it plays well to you, that you feel the sound, and that you want to use and work with that sound. So if one sound appeals to you more than another, I highly recommend that you follow that appeal. You follow your own inner tuning to the voice of the bowl. So these bowls that I'm playing, just so you understand the pitches, start at a middle C pitch, which is literally the middle C on a piano. These are tuned to a standard Western scale. In this case, they're tuned to the standard pitches of the modern chakra system. And I will talk more about that as we go, but we'll also be introducing an educational video on using a chakra set with the chakras, and that's something that will be coming soon that you can watch for as well. I'm beginning at middle C and just going up the major scale, the correct intervals of the major scale, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we add the 8th high C, because that rounds the whole circle of sounds musically. It adds dimensions of harmonics that we can work with that are very enriching, very nourishing and relaxing. As well as if we're working with the chakra system, then it adds to the quality and types of chakra or energy centers we're working with that can really add to your practice. Again, I'll explain more later, and we'll be creating a full educational video on that. So again, is there one sound that appeals to you over another? The C, the D, the E, the F, the G, the A, the B, or the high C. And that's one full octave. If I were picking just 2 or 3 bowls, I would look for the harmonic intervals that play very well together and create symmetrical, sacred geometrical formations within the sound waves and vibrations. This is related to the ancient sacred geometries, which our modern musical system is based upon, and actually our entire math and geometry is based upon the sacred geometries through the work of Plato and other Greek scholars who learned it in the ancient arts of sacred geometry in Egypt. So if I work with these harmonics, it creates a foundation of very beautiful and rich harmonics that our body inherently tends to relax to. We tend to inherently go, ah, that sounds good. Ah, that feels good. And our neurology tends to inherently enter a more relaxed state or a felt sense of beauty or spaciousness. This is known by musicians throughout all time, and they've always used the sacred harmonies because of this reason. But we also know from modern science that the musical harmonics literally impact our neurology, much like the smell of a rose does. I like to call these major harmonics the musical equivalent of smelling a rose. If you're smelling a rose, you don't have to tell your body, oh, I like that and I'm going to feel good when I smell it. No, your body's neurology naturally goes, opens, expands, softens, relaxes. And this musically does the same thing as shown through musical history and modern science to enhance deep felt senses of relaxation, of openness or spaciousness, or felt senses of beauty. So if we play these geometrical harmonics, the C and the G, the perfect fifth. It's called the perfect fifth because musicians throughout all times recognize that this harmonic, if we chose one, is the perfect harmonic to create that felt sense of relaxation and beauty. But the next harmonic we work with might be either the third. Just listen to the sounds, feel them with your body, or the eighth. So this is from low C or middle C to high C. With the fifth, the G in the middle, and the third, the E in between. Now, if you were thinking of getting a set of frosted bowls or a set of crystal bowls, we tend to recommend the frosted first, though when you understand the qualities of the other ones, that may call to you most, and we encourage that you educate yourself to make the best choices for you. But we often start with the frosted sets. They are considerably less expensive also. And some people want to get an entire chakra set, but they often haven't even played the bowls or don't really understand how to work with the chakras or anything else, and may not be able to afford a full set, in which case we tend to say, well, let's start with a couple of harmonics. And we'll keep track of exactly which bowls you pick, and we can add to it later when you feel ready to add to your set. And we tend to recommend adding the other harmonics first just because of the sounds. But you may find other ones that appeal to you. And you just listen to the sounds of the bowls, and we help you select ones that appeal to you, that feel good, that work well together, according to your wishes and needs. So I've talked some about pitch. These are musical scales that the bowls are based in. However, I need to tell you about the actual pitch or frequency. And there's two ways of defining that. Historically, music was defined by Hertz frequency values, but in modern times, there have been sound instruments used to detect the actual pitch, and they most often are detected through what's called a cent value. And this is a very high quality crystal tuner. I use them because I am not only a musician but also an instrument maker, and I need very precise tuning in my instruments, so we use them to test our crystal bowls also. They're very precise instruments, and you probably can't see it there, but there's actually a needle here that's moving back and forth. And I can set that to the Hertz value, which is the cycles per second that a bowl is playing. So if the A was tuned to 440 Hertz, it would be beating at 440 cycles a second. We can't hear every cycle of that, but that's the sound that's being generated. And if we were tuning it to the 432 Hertz, which is popular right now, then that would be beating at 432 cycles a second. Most of the bowls are talked about through a pitch variation called cents. 1 cent is 1/100th of a half note. So here we have 8 notes of the full musical scale in the key of C major: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. A full 8-tone octave from C to C. These intervals are created through the relationships of the sacred geometries that unfold in how the tuning was created to begin with. There are specific intervals that should be played between each note in order for them to sound correctly together. Be mindful of this, because some people will take bowls and sell them as a set that don't even match each other musically, so they sound off to your ear. Or they may start with a high C. They'll say, well, it's a C, it's for the root, and then they give you a low D, and then they give you a high G, and so forth, and you end up with bowls that are not in the correct intervals of the musical scale, the correct increments. It's very important that you have that correct increment, and we pay very close attention to this type of thing when we select bowls with you. Within each note, or within each half note, actually, this is C to D. This is 2 half notes. There's C, C sharp, and then D. Between the C and the C sharp, between the C sharp and the D, and so forth, those notes are divided in 100 cents, which this meter reads. So down to 1 cent for 1/100th of a half note, we can determine the value or pitch of the bowls. So we match them very closely to each other in values that you cannot hear any difference in. And that's also very important. That isn't provided by all of the crystal bowl industry, because most people in the industry aren't even educated in the musical qualities to this degree of refinement. They don't understand the importance of it. But it's very important that the bowls match each other, and we can help you understand that more, help you ensure that the bowls are matched. If you already have some bowls and you want to match new bowls to your set that you have, we can help you determine the exact scent value and help you find exactly which bowls would be the next best match for you. So we can help in many ways like this. And we like to take this time to explain it so that you understand the differences in what it is you're purchasing and why it's important to find bowls that play well together, that sound good together, and that feel good to the body and to our neurology also, because that creates the fundamental framework of healing. That we feel good, that we find a place of nourishment, of relaxation, that can lead into homeostasis, which is the body's natural healing state, and so forth. When we first begin, we look at the difference in pitches and what might serve you. Do you like the higher or lower pitches? And do you want 1, 2, 3, 4 bowls, a full 7 bowl set, 8 bowl sets, and so forth? And we can talk about all of those, as well as the difference in 440 hertz, 432 hertz, and what's known as just intonation, which is the original way of tuning our musical instruments before modern musicians changed our tuning system. We have both articles and videos online that you can look at and hear the differences in the 440 and 432 tunings, as well as non-perfect pitch tunings. Perfect pitch is a modern concept that was an agreed upon tuning system created in the 1920s and 30s by International Sound Organization, or a symphonic organization, because all of the great composers heard perfect pitch differently. And so Beethoven tuned to this pitch, Mozart to this pitch, Liszt and Schubert tuned to different pitches, and when new conductors would come to town, the orchestra would have to retune the entire orchestra to that composer's ear. It became very difficult and confusing, and eventually the orchestras agreed upon 440 as a standard tuning. But some composers heard the perfect pitches in different places, in different frequencies. And I'm saying that because perfect pitch is a modern convenience for musicians to play together. In many cultures, we're taught to tune to our own inner voice, our own inner ear. And so the nature of perfect pitch is really important if you're going to play with other musicians. Otherwise, it may not be such an important part of your choice. But this also we can discuss with you. So we're going to take a short break and then come back and share a little bit more with you. Thank you for joining us. In this segment, we're going to talk about frosted bowl chakra sets. And we recommend 3 different chakra sets. The basic chakra set is composed of 7 musical notes, and typically that begins with C, middle C. Technically it's C4 musically, but on the piano it's literally the middle key of C. It's the 4th octave C, and it goes up the scale: D, E, F, G, A, and B. These 7 music tones in modern history have been utilized to work with the 7 primary chakras within our system. And I say in modern times because my colleagues and I have not found reference in ancient Vedic or yogic literature that assigns musical notes to the chakras. But it's a modern system that works very well. Many people use it. And you can use it with chant or with bowls by themselves. In this case, the middle C bowl relates to the root chakra, which is just below the base of the tailbone in the region of the perineum of the body. And it has to do with our physical well-being and orientation to time and space, to where we are, our physical security, our nourishment, and so forth. And we can therapeutically use the understanding of the chakras to help us discern where people may be having difficulties in their life. For instance, they're having struggles with making good choices, or they're arguing with partners or parents or someone else over their own autonomy, their right to make the best decision for themselves, or which choice is best, and so forth. In terms of chakras, this would be a third chakra issue, and if I was a therapist, I might consider that and think about working with the third chakra bowl, which in this case would be the E bowl. And I might just have them hold awareness in the solar plexus, in this region of the body, just between the navel and the pericardium, the base of the rib cage, just in this region of the body. This is equated in solar energy in the Vedic system, though other cultures use different energies or elements. And I could just breathe that sound into this region, or ask my client to, and just rest in the sound of the bowl. Or I might choose the seed sound relating with this. The seed sound is the very vibratory nature of the chakra in Vedic or yogic understanding, and that seed sound is Ram. In the Vedic way of understanding, the chakras are actually opening and flourishing, and this sound is emanating from it. So if we focus on the seed sound Ram, just imagine that chakra opening and becoming nourished and vitalized and coming into harmony with the rest of our energy body, just singing that sound in that region of the body. This is actually one of the ways that the chakra sets are used in a therapeutic practice for ourselves or others, starting with the seed sounds of the root and going up, or working with just individually with the bowls. So it can be a very good system to work with the full chakra set. The root, the sacral, which is just a few inches above the root, and the solar, the heart chakra, which is the F note, the throat chakra, which is the G note, the third eye, which is the A note, or the B chakra, which is the crown. However, when you listen to this musical system, for me, it leaves me leaning. It leaves something quite lacking, just slightly lacking in the musical system. So if I add one more note to the scale, it completes or rounds the circle of notes and vibrations, and it allows me to rest more fully in the full sound vibration. And when I add the eighth note, the high C, which is an octave above this, then I also can play musical chords or harmonics more completely. Like the basic harmonics of Western music would be the octave and the fifth and the third. If you can, just listen to those sounds and rest them in a little. Coming back to the eighth, perhaps dropping down to the fourth, the heart, adds a different dimension, just working with the bowls in this way, listening to the emanations, the vibratory qualities of the different bowls as you play them together. So, again, we like to work with the full 8-bowl set, though the 7-bowl set is how most people use the chakra system. When we're working with the 8th bowl, then we're also working with an energy center above the head, I first learned of this as the soul star, and I also learned through Egyptian mysteries that this is known as the Ba center, and it's understood to be the seat of our highest individuated consciousness, or the seat of our higher self. And when we come up to the Ba seat, the soul star, just imagine a golden or silver ball. Some of us feel it differently, and you may experience a different color, that's fine, but the golden ball is a very common way of experiencing the highest, clearest light principle of our spiritual consciousness that rests here, resides here. It's like the seat of our spiritual dignity and authority. By resting our awareness here and using the high C bowl, if we want to work with the chakra systems of bowls, it's holding our awareness here and letting this strengthen, this emanation of golden light arising from within the 8th chakra, allowing it to awaken and clarify and empower us with this state of spiritual dignity and authority, the knowing of who we truly are and why we're here and resting in this. And likewise, we also like to work with another center which is used in some cultures beneath us in the earth itself, known as the Earth Star. I'm going to use this clear handle ball to demonstrate that one just for ease of use on our table here. This is resonating at the note B, which is one step below the C. And if we just bring our awareness down from the root center into the earth and rest there, just let your awareness sink where it wants to, like dropping from the tailbone, the tip of the tailbone, down into the earth. In Peruvian studies, we would imagine it like the seed of a plant sending a root into the earth. And just let it come to rest. And where that tip of the root rests in the earth, you place your awareness and imagine this earth star there resonating out in communion with the sacred earth, with the heart of the Mother Earth, with the very consciousness of the earth, as well as the nature of the ancestor and elemental realms that reside within the earth. If I wanted to, I could even add toning with that meditation, drawing my awareness down into the earth star beneath me, resting in contemplation or deep communion with the Mother Earth herself and all of the medicine, elemental, and ancestral realms that reside there. Perhaps I would call upon them as medicine allies or for wisdom teachers and guides to come and work with me or with the clients I'm working with in service to them. And just add the heartfelt toning of that experience, connecting with the very heart of the Mother. Up, drawing the life force up from the root center or the earth star into the root beneath the base of the spine. Let it resonating up and drawing up into the sacral. Letting it resonate up and draw up into the solar. Let it resonating up, drawing the life force of the earth up, rising into my heart center and resting there. Letting it rise up, opening my throat, clarity and truth, the wisdom of speaking my pure truth. Rising up into my third eye center, helping me clarify my vision and connection with greater aspects of life, with the inner worlds, the subtle worlds of energy and sight, and integrating those in my everyday experience. Drawing up to the crown and opening to the worlds above me. And there, above the crown, the golden sun of my seat of spiritual dignity and authority, the soul star, radiating like the sun in the sky, sun in deep space, where I can feel the greater aspects of my own wisdom illuminating, drawing that down through the third eye into the throat and the heart, grounding it even into the lower chakras, feeling that pure radiance of wisdom of the highest self integrating. So this is a way that we can use the chakra sets, and how we might draw from either the yogic tradition of the 7 bowls, or adding the 8th, which rounds the system musically and allows me to work. If I'm working with the chakra system in this way, then I can also work with the soul star. And if I wish to go to the lower tone, then working also with the earth star beneath me. Now, if you look at our other videos, we'll go more in detail of the differences in the bowls. You can work with the 7, 8, or 9 bowl sets, with clear bowls, with handle bowls, and so forth, and we'll demonstrate some of those also. But feel free to call us with questions to clarify the different uses, the 440, 432, and just intonation sets, working with pentatonic sets or other musical systems. We have videos that you can look at regarding all of these different tuning systems, but we're happy to speak with you and clarify also. Thank you so much. So again, the primary differences are the frosted bowls, which are this opaque, thick, more solid bowl, and the clear bowls, which in this case is deeper because but each bowl may have different pitches. This would be more similar to the pitch of the first one I played. And then painted bowls, bowls known as the mineral fusion bowls, and bowls with handles, which this is a handle bowl, but this also is a handle bowl that we have put in a special box that we've made to help make a handle bowl easier to play like a sitting bowl. So this gives you several options with the handle bowls. So this bowl being a handle bowl that's been painted, this bowl being a clear bowl, and this bowl being a frosted bowl, are very close to the same pitch with each other. And yet there's a great difference in the size and the way that the bowls look. So in the beginning was the opaque frosted bowls, and then these went through a double-fired process that refined the crystal to where it became clear like this. And there are different qualities to the clear bowls. Some are a little smaller and thinner, but still have a very nice deep resonance like this one. And some of the clear bowls are larger like this, so they usually are deeper in pitch when they're larger. This one is several steps lower than the one I just played. This, in this case, this is a low G bowl, a 3rd octave G. For those that have a deep voice to work with, it's really lovely to use a bowl like this. And you may be able to hear that these have a very clear tone, a very clear voice, the clear bowls do. If you place a handle on them, it adds some other possibilities to it. We find that with the handle bowls, almost inevitably, each bowl has a very rich, clear tone. This is going to be a little bit higher than this one. You can hear they sound nice together. But when you use the handle bowls, one thing I really like about it is that I can bring them very close to me. I really work collaboratively with the sounds that I use, whether it's a crystal bowl, a Tibetan bowl, or chime, a native drum or rattle, whatever it is. I really like to really embrace and resonate within the sound, to merge into the sound, and let that help clarify my own levels of awareness, my own energetics, but also help me really focus on this pure tone and pure intentions to mix with the tones of the bowls. And when I'm working with singing, I sing or tone from those places also. So having the bowl to be able to really immerse into the sound is very beautiful to me. But if I'm working with the client, having a bowl like this, it's very easy to move over the client and either feather the energy with the sound or to focus on a particular region of the body or the energy field if I wish to. So having the handle bowls gives me very many possibilities. However, when I'm working with the handle bowl, as you can see, I can only work with one bowl at a time because I have to hold it with one hand and then sing it with the other hand. So we've developed these boxes, and they really work great to hold the bowl stably, and then I can play several bowls at the same time. In this case, the C and G, the perfect fifth, which is a beautiful harmony to work with. It becomes very easy for me to manage a whole octave set of the bowls. We create the box handle bowls in full octave sets. We call this the rainbow set because of the beautiful painting that's done. This is a very high quality enamel that's applied to the bowl. Gives it this beautiful luster and sheen, but we believe it also really enhances the clear, bright voice of the bowl also. I know that in my decades of working making flutes, that when I used enamel applications to the inside or outside of the flute, either one, that it would enhance the voice of the flute quite a bit, and I believe that that also happens with the voice quality of these bowls as well. We really like them quite a bit. And you can get this in any number of sizes and pitches. We can help you select that. The one other type of bowl is a mineral fusion bowl. This is one of my own personal bowls. This is a Moldavite bowl. But there is some misinformation in the crystal bowl industry. When the mineral fusion bowls are made, it's not that the bowl itself is made from that mineral, but that there is an application to it with the mineral in it, which really highlights that essential quality of mineral or other crystal substance. So if I'm familiar with working with amethyst or labradorite or green tourmaline or moldavite or any of the crystal gem families, then I can create a crystal or a mineral fusion bowl to add that quality to the work I'm working with, and there also can be very many elegant colors. And just to compare, here's one of those mineral fusion bowls with the moldavite. Here's a frosted bowl, so same pitch basically, two different bowls, slightly different qualities in the vocal tones of the bowl, and you might just want to really pay close attention to the voice qualities of the types of bowls that you resonate with yourself. So as I've said, the clear bowls tend to have a brighter, richer voice than a similar frosted bowl, but another quality of the clear bowl also is its sustain value. When you play a frosted bowl, it tends to sustain for about 20 up to 30 seconds. But the clear bowls just continue sustaining the sound, sustaining the sound, sustaining the sound. And those of you that meditate know that having that sound quality that just continues allows you to really rest and nurture in the quality of meditation that you've just completed. So it's a wonderful thing to have the clear bowls to rest in for yourself, for your clients, for the groups that you're working in, and so forth. And as I've said, each of these different types of bowls we have available in the full spectrum of harmonic chords, pentatonic and other musical scales, the 7, 8, or 9 chakra sets that we've discussed in our other videos, and so forth. You can do that with all of these different types of bowls. You can have different mineral substances creating a full chakra set with different colors that match the chakra colors or other things like that. In this case, I have two higher grade clear bowls that are just off pitch from each other. And they're just off pitch to create what's called a binaural beat effect. The binaural is this rhythmical beat that you can hear perhaps better if I sing them. You just want to hear this third sound that's created, that's going wah, 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 wah. And if you were to count, these are about 7 beats per second off from each other. And what that means is that they are in the theta beat frequency, or the theta binaural frequency. Science has long determined that our brain beats in different frequency states that are related to particular aspects of our conscious reality. So at near death, our brain resonates at 0 to 0.5 hertz. In deep sleep, the delta state, our brain resonates in the 0.5 up to about 4 hertz. And from about 4 hertz to 7 to 8 hertz, our brain resonates in a very interrelated state known as the theta state. And then there's a place of clear awareness and thinking and learning known as the alpha state that is between that 7 or 8 beat frequency up to about 12 beats a minute. And the next several beats, 12 to 15 or 16 beats, is the waking beta state. That's normal, everyday waking. So we have the waking beta state, the theta state, which is deep inner awareness, and then the alpha state, which is in between those and is used by students and sports athletes and others for specific learning or clear states of awareness. If we want to use the bowls for an inner meditation tool, having a theta state is a wonderful place to work, because it literally does entrain the brain to that frequency, so it brings forward the theta concentration within the brain. It makes it easier to meditate. And this has been proven by decades of science working with the brain state relationship and this art known as entrainment, or it's really a science known as entrainment. And by playing these bowls together and creating that third beat frequency, it tends to put our outer cognition to rest. And it tends to bring forward that inner state of awareness. So we can easily go into meditation. Can you hear the beat frequency? Just listen to it and rest in it if you can. If you had headphones, listening to this with headphones really helps a lot. There it is. So why don't you take just a moment and bring your awareness into the heart center. If you are a more rational or brain-oriented person, you can come to the third eye center in the middle of the brain. But I'm going to rest in the heart and just imagine a state of felt spaciousness. Imagine you're resting out by the ocean or on a mountaintop, or perhaps in a field at night, letting your awareness sink deep into the stars, deep into space, into the infinite universe. And just imagine or recall a time that you were resting in deep spaciousness like this, to where you can feel the nature of spaciousness. And just rest in the felt sense of space within your heart, listening to the bowls. Perhaps set an intention for yourself. Perhaps you want to clarify a life situation. Perhaps you would like to find a way to enter a loving relationship more deeply. Perhaps you would like to call upon the inner guides or teachers of the inner worlds to come and work with you more directly. Just set a clear intention within that felt sense of spaciousness in the heart and rest there. And I'm going to begin toning with the bowls, just using my voice in a simple singing exercise. So the sounds themselves have different qualities that resonate in particular ways that will amplify our inner states of awareness and so forth. When we learn to work with those more distinctly with our own inner intentions and with different meditative states, it can help us to bring forward inherent states of wellness within ourselves, to clarify different aspects of our inner self, our inner voices, or our life situations and so forth. And these are also things that we can work with you to learn how to use the bowls, how to use all of the instruments at Sunread to help you, bring you into a more wholesome, fulfilling life. We hope that you find this helpful, but please feel free to call us to ask your other questions about the many different bowls we offer. Thank you.